We'll see if this works first. Can everybody hear me? Is this all right? Am I breathing louder than I'm talking? Yes. Okay, well, I'll try to breathe slowly to start. My name is Jonah, and thanks you so much for having me. I like to walk around, so sorry about that. As I was introduced, I'm actually the Rotaract Langley president, but what I'm looking to do today is talk a little bit about my journey in communication and kind of the mistakes that I made in my path, and a little bit about how I think that if we can hone our communication skills, then we can build the relationships that we have even stronger, and we can continue to push the boundaries that we have and connect Rotaract with Rotary, connect parents with siblings, and also connect parents with their children. And so what I'm hoping today is to share more about my experience than I am to share about the things that I definitely know, because the more that I read, the more that I know that I definitely don't know. And so I've definitely found that that's been a big blessing to me is I try to approach things with a little bit of an open hand. So I'm asking you to do that with me now. So approach this maybe with a little bit more of an open hand and walk down this journey with me. So I grew up in a family of 5, and with a brother and a sister and 2 parents, and I had this large social group of friends growing up, and all the way up until this grade 9 setting, and I believed that I had a lot of friendships, and I did have a lot of friendships, and in my grade 9 year, my parents decided then that they came to me and they said, "Jonah, listen, here's what we're going to do is we're going to start to homeschool you." And I didn't really have any idea what that would look like or what that meant, and I found that as soon as I left the social setting of school, what I found that I lost was a lot of my relationships, and because a lot of those relationships were built on proximity and they were not built on communication. And as I spent less time with those people, I ended up losing a lot of those relationships, and it was a little bit difficult for me. And so I thought, you know what, I need to actually pursue relationships through communication, not through just being close to someone. So we started homeschooling in grade 9. And I found that a little bit interesting. Homeschooling is interesting. You know, the school dance, it's you and your sister. But my wife, Michaela's laughing at me, I'm sorry. So I really wanted to pursue an additional social setting as well, because you got to learn and you got to connect with other people. And as a homeschooler, you really need to put yourself out there. And so one way that I decided to do that, there was a girl that I liked that was actually going and playing volleyball at a local high school. And I thought, if I can pursue her through volleyball, then it'll be a little less creepy, and maybe I can get to know her a little more and invite her to the school dance. And so the interesting thing was, I went to the principal there and I said, "Listen, is there a way that I can take some classes, or is there a way that I can, get engaged with your guys' school, because I want to play some volleyball?" And so they told me, "You know what, you take a few math classes, you take a class here, a class there, and you can play." And so I tried out for the team, and the bar was pretty low, and so I made it, which was nice. But also, I had a few classes that I wanted to take, and math was one of those that really helped me. And I thought, you know what, let's connect in a few of these ways. So I got some social interaction through the classes, but I also got some social interaction through just playing volleyball there. So as I played, I started to connect as well with the people on the team, but I really didn't connect with them in the way that I thought I would. And I realized that it was, again, built off of proximity and built off of this communal goal of winning a championship, but not built off of a communication and really a connection with that individual, which is really what I was striving, was a connection with individual, but not a connection that was founded in anything else. And so I graduated. It was a good day for me. And the idea ended up being that, what are you going to do with your life? I need to go to university somewhere, and my girlfriend at the time, the girl I was pursuing, her name was Angela, and so she decided to go to Briarcrest, which is out in Saskatchewan, and I don't know if any of you have been to Saskatchewan, but I found it extremely cold. It wasn't, there's not very many trees, and so the wind just takes a nice little clear cut right to your heart, and so I spent a lot of my days cold out there, but I decided, you know what, let's go pursue Saskatchewan as well. And for two reasons. One, I can go play volleyball out there, but more importantly, what I can do is connect with people that I don't know. I can treat this as a completely open slate, a completely new canvas that I can paint a new picture over. And not that I wanted to maybe hide who Jonah was and create a new Jonah, but I wanted to change the way that people viewed me by changing the things that I didn't like about myself. And so I went out to play in Saskatchewan, and I don't know if any of you have been a part of a team at all, and I would imagine you have, and there's different types of teams, and I've been a part of a lot of sporting teams, and I just recently got married a couple of years ago, and that is definitely a teamwork, I can tell you that. But also, my wife and I are coaching a volleyball team, and as a coach you learn that all teams practice, and you practice for a few reasons, and one of those reasons would be to hone the skill of the trade. And so if you're playing volleyball, you practice the skills of volleyball. But the other reason that you practice is so that you can refine the communication skills that you have with the other members of your team, so that you guys can effectively work to focus on your goal and work to achieve that goal as a team. But the communication is really the reason you practice, the other reason you practice. And so as I was going to school, I joined this really intensive volleyball team where we're practicing 3-4 hours a day, and you're weightlifting on the side, and you're going to school as well, and it's a huge time commitment. And I realized real quick that I was not nearly as interested in my studies as I was with pursuing my own selfish interests. And so my professors would be up there telling me one thing, and I'd be daydreaming, thinking something completely else. And the funny thing is, as you learn that, so instead of pursuing my education, and which I did as well, but maybe not with as much effort as I should have, I also pursued a little bit more curiosity. And my curiosity led me to this study that I want to really share with you guys that really had an impact on me. And the study is called Asymmetric Insight. It's the study of I know you better than you know me. In 2001, Emily Peronin, with a team at Stanford, decided to test the psychology of individuals and how they assessed character traits. And it's a really interesting study, and it really changed the way that I felt that I wanted to communicate with individuals. So I want to explain a little bit about how this study was broken down. So they took a lot of hungry students, and they encouraged them with pizza, and they said, here, partake in our study. They gave them a list of words, about 15 words, but each of those words, they took a segment of the word out. So in a 3-letter word, they would have one letter, say it was a T, and it would be a blank blank. Now, each individual was responsible for filling in the word with about 15 seconds worth of time, and they were asked, please fill in exactly what word that comes to mind. But it doesn't have anything to do with a theme. It doesn't have anything to do with an organization. All that it has to do with is the first thing that comes to your mind. Please tell us what that is. They were given about 15 words, each student. After their time was done, they had their list of words here, and they were requested to answer the following question. Tell us what insights these words tell us about the character that wrote those words. And it was very interesting. Each individual looked at those words and said, these words, they have nothing to do with who I am as a person. They show no special insights into my character, and more importantly, they have no revelations into who I am. Then those same people were given the words of the individual, another peer next to them, and they were said, please, assess the character of this person that wrote these words. And believe it or not, each individual was then able to assign character traits to that person based off of the smallest amount of evidence. This person used attack. They must be an aggressive person. This person used possess. They must be into some shady things. But the idea is that they had just as much information and they had completed the test themselves. Yet, when they were asked the exact same question, none of them thought, well, maybe the words that they used were just circumstantial. Maybe the words that they used had nothing to do with their character. And reading the research on this paper was very interesting because it helped me believe, or I wrestled with it. I couldn't decide, do I take this and I say that my words have more impact to other people than they do to me? Or do I read this and I say that maybe I should just stop giving character traits, or maybe I should stop assuming things about other people because really they don't mean what they say? And I didn't know how to take that. What do you do with that? Do you say words have no meaning? Or do you say that, well, I'm just going to continue to go about my day? So I really wrestled with it. And I decided to start allotting people a little bit more social grace. I adopted both. I said, you know what, listen, I think that my words have more impact than maybe I thought other people thought they did. So maybe when I say something, when I want to connect with that individual, maybe let's think about the words that I'm trying to say to them, because if I use a word like attack, maybe they think I'm a little more aggressive. But on the flip side, I also thought maybe the words that someone else is using, maybe they're not thinking about the words they're using nearly as much as I think they're thinking about the words they're using. Now, I'm not trying to say that I think that no words have meaning. That's not at all what I'm trying to say. What I'm hoping for is that if we can use insight instead of proximity to build relationships, we're going to be substantially better off. If we can continue to work with people, to communicate with people, we're going to be way better off. I think if we rely on proximity for our relationships, by being just close to people, it's really going to hurt us. But instead, if we think about the words that we say, and if we allot people more social grace by assuming that the words that they use aren't necessarily, they don't hold any special insight into who they are as a person, they don't give us any special revelation into who they are and who their character is, and don't hold them hostage by assuming that maybe a word that they used has a really deep insight into their character trait. I think we're going to be substantially farther off. So I would encourage you, use insight instead of proximity to build relationships. Thank you.